Hi, everyone. Remember today you are working on your Life After an Asteroid movie project. And so I'm going to just give you some information that will help you complete that project for today. Okay? So just to remind you, the project is under current assignments in Google Classroom, and it's called the Asteroid Movie Final Project. Now, there's one assignment where you have your own copy, so it has your name on it, and that's the assignment you're actually turning in, okay? And then there is another helpful resource just attached to this assignment, and it's called Resources, and that's going to provide you links to the research, to rubrics, and some examples for you to see, okay? So I'm going to open up my project. It's really just 2 slides, plus to do your advertisement. Sorry. This is also a great, easy way to get to the resources too. So I linked the resources on your front page of your project as well. Okay, so you could get to it easily. So if you were in class last week, and if not, you will have to do this first. But we looked at like 3 different scenarios, right? And this is about like how would life be different after an asteroid collision? So if an asteroid changed Earth's mass, right? And we talked about how that would impact gravity, right? If Earth got larger, we'd have much greater gravity, right? Stronger gravity. And if Earth got smaller, our gravity would be weaker. And then we looked at the resources provided to jot down some notes about what effects would occur on Earth if gravity changed in whatever way we looked at. Okay. Then we also talked about, what if an asteroid hit the moon and the moon would move closer to Earth or farther from Earth. And again, we talked about how that would impact Earth's tides, right? And remembering that moon's gravity is the primary reason we have tides. And so thinking about, if the moon moves closer, right, that's going to just increase the gravity between the moon and Earth. And so when we have high tides, right, they're going to be much higher. Whereas if the moon moves farther away, right, and possibly we lose the moon, we're not going to have a large gravity between the moon and the Earth. And so the sun and possibly other planets might have some impact on our tides, but our tides most likely won't be changing that much between high and low tides. Okay. And then again, we looked at research to jot down some effects that would occur if Earth's tides changed. Okay. And then lastly, we looked at, what if Earth had a larger or smaller tilt? And again, thinking about, what causes Earth's seasons anyway, which is like Earth's tilt, right? And our revolution or our orbit around the sun. And so thinking about, if Earth has a larger tilt, it's going to have much more extreme seasons because the sun is going to be shining directly on, say, like the poles, right? If we're at a 90 degree, whereas it might shine directly on one pole, the other pole might not get any sun. And then once Earth makes its way around, it'll be the opposite. Okay. And again, there's some really good resources to see, how it would impact seasons. And then with a smaller tilt, right, it's pretty much the opposite. So if we assume like no tilt, remember the sun is going to be shining at the equator at all times. And so the equator will be nice and warm, right? But the northern and southern hemisphere won't ever have an opportunity to get direct sunlight. So it's going to be really cold up in those hemispheres. Okay. And so really, we're not going to have seasons because wherever you live, you're going to experience that same weather year round because the sun rays will never change when they're hitting the Earth. Okay. So again, we did fill out this cause and effect chart. And if you still need to, the resources to help you answer these questions are in the resource tab. And I can show you that in a little bit. But then now is really the creative piece. So that's what you're going to work on today in class. And so using some of these effects, they are supposed to inspire a movie, right? So for instance, if gravity got smaller, right? Say Earth gets a lot smaller, its gravity gets smaller, then we are going to definitely have experience different things on Earth, right? And one of those things is that we can jump higher, run faster, right? Lift things that at one time weighed a lot more because now, they don't weigh as much because weight is impacted by gravity. And so when I think about that, I think about, wow, how cool would it be if I was watching like a basketball game and I see these players like dunking a basketball at like a 20, 30 foot high hoop, right? And then I'm thinking, oh, like what if, the heavyweight champions, right? They can always and have always lifted crazy amounts of weight, but now they can lift things that are even more heavy, right? Or more massive because they don't weigh as much. And so that was the idea I went with. And so down here in my synopsis, I'm going to talk about, I want to create a movie, and I'm thinking like a documentary that highlights 3 different athletes and the amazing things they can do and how their sport has changed since gravity has decreased. Okay, and so I would write that down in that pink box just so that I know which idea I want to continue on with. Okay, and then I'm going to use that idea again for this second part. So for today, hopefully the cause and effect chart is all done. And then for today, you are really coming up with, what's your movie about? What's it? Who's going to star in it? How are you going to advertise it so others are going to be excited to see this movie? And so that's where you're going to fill out this part, right? So you're going to create a movie title for your movie. What type of movie is it? And so you have that red X that you can move to one of the boxes. And then a synopsis, right? So what is this movie about? And what's important when you write your synopsis is that you highlight, what change has occurred due to the asteroid. So for me, it would be that Earth has gotten smaller. And then the effects. And so the effect I would highlight is that gravity has decreased. And because of it, we can do really cool things because our physical activity is much easier. So we can jump higher, walk easier, run faster, and so on. Okay. The starring cast is more for fun and creative, but list a few of your main characters and pick real actors that would play each part, right? And sometimes when you have those big names like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson or Jennifer Lawrence, right? When you have those big names, like that makes people want to see your movie even more. And so you can list those main characters then in your movie advertisement, okay? So you'll fill this out, and then the last thing is really that movie advertisement and the creative piece. And so I'm going to go to resources to show you about that real quick. Okay, so again, if you want an easy way to get to resources, it's just on the front of your project. So for the resources, use this, right? Because this is going to help you identify if you have a quality project that meets expectations. If you're struggling with, I'm not sure how to write a synopsis, I'm not sure what I need to highlight. I also have some examples for you to look at too, okay? So the first resource section is the research. So if you need some more research or maybe missed class, this is the research you're using for your cause and effect chart. Okay. Then the next section of this resource is your rubrics, right? And it's really important that you look at the rubrics before and after doing this assignment, right? Because you want to make sure that it's work you're proud of and it's work that's going to meet expectations. So for the first part, this is really your cause and effect chart. So making sure that you chose which change or which cause that you explored, right? So there's 3 X's. How did mass change? How did the distance of the moon change? And how did Earth's tilt change? Then you need to list effects. And I'm totally changing this. At least 3 effects, if not more. And then your movie inspiration, right? So really thinking about, which of those causes and effects is going to inspire your movie and how it impacts life on Earth. And then for most of you, right, honestly, all of you should definitely attempt the advanced. So not only how will it affect human life, but how does it affect something else on Earth? So it could be animal life, plant life, our water system and weather system, I don't know, our infrastructure, right? Something else that's not just humans, okay? Then for part 2 is the movie info and your advertisement, okay? And so again, make sure you're looking through this and meeting all the requirements. For your movie synopsis, what's really important is that you highlight the cause and effect in it. So it needs to be clear which change you were inspired by and how that change affects Earth and affects human life on Earth, okay? And then lastly, your advertisement. So remember, that's either going to be a poster, a commercial, or a trailer. And in the last section of the resources, I actually give you some like a must-have list or must-include list so that you do have guidelines when making those. Okay. And actually, it's the very last one. So these are just examples, right? So if you want to see how I filled this chart out, you want to see, how I came up with my synopsis, and I have an example down there. This is my movie info slide, right? And an example of a synopsis. So actually on the pink box is just your inspiration and your idea. And then you're actually going to write the synopsis on your little movie info slide. Okay. And then lastly, what advertisement do you want to create? And so there are examples, right? This is a commercial of The Mummy. If you just click on it, you can hear it. But then as you can see, it gives you some ideas of what makes a good commercial and what your commercial should include. Okay. For the poster, here's a few poster examples. Again, what elements make a good poster, and then what your poster should include. And one thing, like this poster could be digital, which means you can do it on the computer, right, on Google Drawings or even maybe on a slideshow, or you can draw it, right? And if you draw it, I'm going to ask that you still take a picture of it and put that link or put that picture in your movie info slide. But then also, if you are in person, please bring your poster to class too, okay? And then finally, you can also create a trailer, right? And so this, again, what are good elements of a trailer and what does your trailer need to include? And just so you know, each of these advertisements has an opportunity to be advanced or to really receive full credit because you put the extra effort in. And they're fairly like small things to add, but they just make you think a little bit harder and be a little more creative. And so definitely attempt those as well. Okay. All right. Just so you know, this project is due on Sunday, the 28th. think it's the 28th. And the end of the day on Sunday. So you do have the weekend. I will see you all at least once before it's due again. So definitely, if you have questions, ask me then. But otherwise, just have fun with this project. Be creative. And again, use those resources, okay? The resources are there to help you. All right, guys, I'm excited to see what you guys come up with and to see your creativity. And I hope you guys have a good day. Bye.